What you're about to watch contains explicit language, adult themes, violence, and may not be suitable for viewers under 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised.
Hello, welcome to the Special Report, your news and views program about geek gaming culture on the internet. Coming up in the show today, I know I'm a little bit late, but I want for people to be aware that there is going to be something that I can actually add to this story. The Twitch Safety Advisory Council and all of the hoopla, all the controversy surrounding it. Oh boy, this is gonna be good. This is gonna get me in a lot of trouble, isn't it? Well, we're gonna dive right into it. Oh dear God. Yes, I went there. My name is JD Shadow. All this and the OC remix track of the day will start right about now. Now, before we go any further about the story, let me remind people a few things. One, I am very supportive of the LGBTQ+ community. I do not think that I have to continue to say that countless times because anybody who has watched the channel knows that I am immensely in support of that. Also, keep in mind that you might have seen a yellow text on the left-hand side. I have never done this before. I will get to what that means in just a second. There's something I am going to add to this story because we have corroboration about a few things about this story. One big part of the story. And this is something you're going to hear first here. So stay with me because I'm going to explain what all of this is about to those people who probably have not heard of this story yet. Because as we all know by now, we've seen probably a lot of the videos about this already, the Twitch Safety Council was made by the namesake site after a string of controversial and I would say very abhorrent acts on Twitch streams. One being someone that throwing their cat across the room. I kid you not, that happened. This caused Twitch to obviously feel the need to do something about it, but this led to the Safety Advisory Council, which I'm just gonna say the word Safety Council because I'm too lazy to add the word advisory in there. According to the announcement, the council lists these 5 points. I'm gonna read it to you verbatim. Drafting new policies and policy updates, developing products and features to improve safety and moderation, promoting healthy streaming and work-life balance habits, protecting the interests of marginalized groups, and identifying emerging trends that could impact the Twitch experience. Now, according to Twitch, people who are on this council are not employed by them, and they're not going to be able to make final decisions, thank goodness, because of what we're about to talk about, but instead are tasked with quote-unquote providing the experience, expertise, and belief to help inform and guide decisions made at Twitch with the goal to promote the safety and well-being of everyone on the platform. Basically, what I'm being told about this and what's being gathered, they're supposed to be helping making a decision about rules, and again, Twitch would still have the final say about changing to the platform. Or so it would seem. There was one person who was going to be on this panel that got removed because she was lying about her place on the Pro Apex Legends tournament, but that has since been resolved, so we are not going to include her into this discussion. But for the most part, these people are not bad picks. That one that was controversial I was talking about just earlier, but there are some pretty smart people here. Experts at behavior, people who have PhDs, people who are smarter than me. There are also a few streamers on this, one being Carnage, and if you've ever watched anything on the internet, you probably are familiar with this guy. He is very cool. He's cool as a cucumber, and I would say that he probably is hard to rattle, and he's probably close to his principles. He's going to tell you where he stands, and you probably know where he's going to stand. And that's very interesting because even Carnage indirectly has said that he is taken aback by something. And by now, you probably have heard all about one of the members of the Safety Council, but for those people who have no idea who we're talking about, the member with the most heat, the subject of all of this controversy, the subject of the people who have been freaking out about this, is somebody by the name of Steph Lower. She's better known on Twitch as FerociouslySteph. and she's the one that we have to talk about. She is probably one of the first, if not the first, transsexual streamers that have used the platform, and all the power to her for that. However, there's one other thing that she has self-identified as, and I can't believe I'm actually going to say this, but she self-identifies as a deer. Now, you might think I am trying to insult her, and when I first heard about the story and I tried to do some research about this, I saw a lot of the videos saying the deer girl, and I thought they were insulting her, but then I looked at some of the clips that people have put up of her streams, and I am sorry to say that no amount of proverbial eye bleach will be enough for me to unsee some of the things I became witness to. Trust me, the things that have been clipped, and they're not hard to find, they're all over the freaking place, made me want to contemplate life and why I'm living it. But okay, so I'm making these little jokes, and all jokes aside, I do not want to insult transsexual people or furries. You do you, and I support the LGBTQ plus community, as I said, but if you had to see him, first, I'm very sorry, and two, you'll know why I'm saying all of this. The reason, in all seriousness, for the concern is what she has been saying about gamers and about her new position on Twitch, because there are some things that she has said that have made some people very uncomfortable about the Safety Advisory Council. One of the things she has said about gamers in general, or a lot of gamers in general, if we're using her terminology, and I'll go a lot about that terminology in a moment, saying, quote, "I'm just not cool with white supremacy, y'all. I think a lot of gamers are white supremacists. Sorry, just a fact of how I feel." Now, keep in mind that she's saying this about the very platform, the very audience that she's streaming for, but that's not it. That's not all by any stretch of imagination. She has also came out about something extremely important in modern games, which is the all-important voice chat, the stuff that Discord is made of. She goes on to say, and not only that, to defend her comments, saying, quote, "I have never and will never say most gamers are white supremacists. White men have the most privilege when it comes to voice chat communication. This statement has riled more than a few white supremacists. Remember, having privilege does not invalidate your hardships. Try looking in the mirror." Now, she's also tried to say, you might have noticed it, that she said that a lot of most are not one of the same, if even similar. And keep in mind, she was saying this in a series of tweets. This was not something that she buried into a Twitch stream or anything like that. This was doing a series of tweets on Twitter. They're not hard to find. But that's not it. This goes even further, because on some more recent streams, she's been commenting on her newfound position on the Twitch Council. One, with an outrageous claim, and then a scary proclamation that, given her attitude toward her audience, one could question what will happen to people if she has her goalposts forever moving, as it seems that she has. The claim is mentioning that she cannot be banned because of her position, let alone being partnered. That alone is reason for concern that is rather silly. If Twitch is actually doing that, what? But it was this clip. It was this quote that was clipped that got a lot of people going, that worried a lot of people, in which she says, quote, "I'm hanging in there and I'm not going anywhere. I have power. They can't take it away from me. And honestly, there are some people that should be afraid of me, and they are because I represent moderation and diversity, and I'm going to come for hurtful, harmful people." Now, there's a few things to note here, and that's one, there have been calls that the quotes were taken out of context, and that she was only trolling the audience to give her more attention to her streams. And second, there have been claims that she has been receiving a lot of harassment aimed at her as a result of such clips that were seemingly taken out of context. Foremost, let me be the first to condemn any acts of actual harassment. I say actual though, because there's really no way to determine what she has determined to be harassment. Now second, there could be a further sign that she is just saying things after finding out that her original words would have drawn heat. Now, if something from our esteemed person who keeps finding these things, Sophia Narwitz, why is she not getting the recognition she deserves about these things? And someone really high up needs to hire her to a position. But what she is reported on, if that's anything to go by, there is reason for further concern, because she found out that Steph has her own page with the Anti-Defamation League. These are the same people who have been extremely controversial for not only the denial of the Armenian genocide, you know, the same thing that people people accuse the Young Turks of ignoring, and the same ones that said what they did about the OK symbol being a racist gesture, which we all know what that led to. According to Sophia, Steph has a, quote, openly friendly relationship with Daniel Kelly, the assistant director of the Center for Technology and Society at the ADL. The goal of that arm of the ADL is to work with tech platforms on stemming cyber hate and online harassment. Now, 3, as I was saying, I was not thinking of doing this story at all. People have done a much better job of me at covering this story. However, as I said, you may have noticed that sidebar. It has a text color you have not seen before ever on the special report. I have done 99 of these. This is my 99th special report. I have never used a text color other than white in any of these special reports. Well, maybe black as well in order to contrast. However, I've not used that color before. That's because I have something to add to this. This is something you're going to hear first here, and I have permission to talk about it here. And that is that a friend of mine had met Steph in person before. And though he did not tell me about the specifics of the meeting, he can officially corroborate that the in-person meeting had confirmed that she is in fact ultra toxic to her fan base off screen as well, and might just be to her fan base IRL, which basically means is that this might not just be an act of trolling, but something she actually does believe, and stuff that she was only going back on and turning tail on when she got caught with her hand in the cookie jar. Perhaps this person wasn't the only one that has seen this and knows of her, because some other streamers have been calling foul on some of her comments recently, regardless of how out of context or within context the comments might have been. One of those is the popular WoW streamer Asmongold, who has gone on record calling out the double standard on one of his streams that seems to be in play about her comments when compared to similar comments from others. He said this, quote, "It's ridiculous, and at the same time, this person can say negative things about white people and it's fine. If I said that about black people or trans people, I would be banned. They do it and it's completely okay, and Twitch accepts it. It's the emperor's new clothes and everyone is afraid to say what's obvious. I think that is wrong if somebody is going to sit there and say that as a white person. I find this offensive. I don't want somebody to say negative, degrading things about me based off my race. I thought this was America, where people get to be treated by how they act and not based off what they look like. This is plain discrimination, and if anybody has said that about anyone else, they would be off the platform. But this person is being endorsed by Twitch, and that is offensive to me. And it's not fair, it's wrong, and Twitch needs to fix it." And again, as I said, one of the other ones is Code Carnage himself. Now, it seems that he's not coming out and saying it right outright, and he might be talking about some other issues stemming from this backlash, but the comments from him on some of his streams make him seem as though he could also be saying the chorus's line of people who have not found her to be a good fit for such a powerful role. All of this, however, has led to the CEO of Twitch, and forgive me for not knowing his last name, but he goes by the name Emmett here, posted a blog post in which states, "Last week we announced the formation of our Safety Advisory Council, a group of online safety experts and Twitch creators we brought together to advise on issues related to trust and safety at Twitch. We've since seen a lot of discussion and questions, as well as some concerns, and I want to provide some clarity to help everyone understand our thinking about the council's role and what we are doing next." He then goes on to say, and I'm not going to read the whole thing, but he's going to go on and say that the people who are on the Safety Advisory Council are not employees of Twitch, nor do they make any final decisions. They do state that they wanted to get a diverse set of voices. We'll get to that in a moment. But the most important one comes about 3 paragraphs in which he states, "Harassment directed at council members or anyone at or on Twitch only underscores the importance of the council. We do not condone bullying or harassment of any kind and will continue to take action against accounts who engage in that behavior." I wanted to read that ad verbatim because we'll get back to that in just a moment, but I want to state that this whole thing misses the point. It misses the point entirely. The things that FerociouslySteph and maybe Twitch now have done is what we call a Kafka trap. Now, what that means is that someone will say, "Oh, all people are this or all certain group is that, and then they will try to deny it and then be found guilty of engaging in that kind of behavior just because they were answering to a preemptive strike. And in this case, Steph did this to perfection, because look what one of her claims were. The idea that all or most or a lot of gamers, and this whole thing with changing up the language, it really doesn't mean that much, because a lot and most are really similar to each other here. And I didn't see a lot of people who were talking on this topic misquoting her in any sort of way. They were saying the word a lot instead of most when quoting her. She was saying that a lot, there's that word, of gamers are white supremacists. That is such a wide net in order to catch people in. She's catching such a wide net to begin with, and she's saying that toward her audience, which is comprised of mostly gamers. Twitch is comprised of mostly gamers. How in the world are you supposed to be able to think things fairly when you are saying that as a preemptive strike, as a Kafka trap, in which the only two ways you can actually do anything about the Kafka trap is to either ignore it, which you can't do because she is in a position of power. Let's not kid ourselves. This is a position of freaking power here, or to call it out directly. And that's what I'm doing. We are calling it out directly here. Now, keep in mind one particular aspect of this. This is a very, very touchy subject to dance around. I was warned that any sort of wrong word might trigger some people to come after me. And that says a hell of a lot. That says a whole lot about the nature of these types of topics. This is exactly what she probably wanted. This is exactly what Twitch probably wanted. And you notice how they worded that blog. They definitely laid the Kafka trap here. Harassment directed at council members or anyone at or on Twitch only underscores the importance of the council. Here's the thing. The council didn't really need to be. All they had to do was to fix what was broken. And they were ones that broke it. They did nothing about the person who threw their cat across the room. I was swearing more than once. And let's not forget all the cam girls that are on Twitch repeatedly. This is something they can fix by just cracking down on their rules that they put in place, but they don't enforce them. And instead, they're putting this thing in. And it's creating a whole bunch of more problems. And it's this one person that's creating all of it. You don't see anyone, well, you might be seeing a few people who are scratching their heads at the people who are holding PhDs and the professors who are on this too, that probably have never played a video game in their life, but they're not particularly saying, hey, we don't want them out. They're saying, we'll give them a chance, but we're wondering why they're on here for anything other than to further their stock. But you're not seeing them complaining about Coke Carnage, not complaining about any other streamers. Coke Carnage is probably one of the coolest guys around. And if he's saying something about this, albeit indirectly, then there could be something there that you might need to look into. But instead, Twitch does absolutely nothing. They don't address the elephant in the room here, which is her, and her alone. I have no problem if she wants to identify as a deer. More power to her. And I don't want to dog on her if she actually has a mental condition that makes her believe that. I don't want to make fun of her if that's what's going on here. If that's her prerogative, if that's something she wants to do, if that's what floats her boat, then you know what? We have no right to criticize that. We can say, you know what, that's not something I would do, as long as you don't force it upon me, as long as you don't force it upon us. I mean, if we don't like anybody's content, we could just change the stream to another stream. That's the power of Twitch. There are so many streams out there that we don't actually have to watch that one person. We can go to this person or to that person. There are several people who I watch on YouTube who I don't necessarily agree with, but I like what they do. I like how they work on their content, and they invite people to have a conversation. They want to know what people think. I'm like that. But there's a lot of people who we can go to. We don't have to watch her. And the majority of people who are complaining about this have no problem with that either. They might be weirded out by what they actually saw in the clips, and maybe they were taken out of context a little bit. Maybe they were done for show. Maybe they were her being like Howard Stern was, a shock jock or whatever it was. But you know what? More power to her if she wants to do that. We have no no right to direct her whether or not she wants to continue doing that. But the thing about it is, no one's saying that about her. No one's saying, hey, you have to stop doing that, or hey, this is too disgusting for me. Neither are they saying anything about her transgender. No one's saying anything about her transitioning. No one's saying anything about that. And to be quite honest with you, all you have to do in order to see that I'm on the side of LGBT plus communities is to look at the rest of my content. That's all you really have to do there. But it is her wide net. The whole thing where she says that most gamers or all gamers, again, that's interchangeable, are white supremacists. How do you figure? Where's your proof? Where is your proof? Which ones are you talking about? Which gamers have you seen to make you believe that? Where is your proof? Show us. If it is such a fact, show us studies, show us something from Johns Hopkins University or something like that to show us what you believe is factual, because that's such a loaded statement to bring up, and that's such a Kafka trap. And let's examine that for just a second, okay? Because let's say for a second she was trolling people. Let's just say she was just doing this to get some people riled up or to bring more attention to her stream on the back of her even being on this, which she shouldn't be to begin with. That is no better. As a matter of fact, that's kind of worse, to be honest with you, because now she's mocking people or using her identity in order to get a leg up in her content. And that should be absolutely against the rules. Why does that make it any better? If she's trolling people, that should also be grounds for her immediate dismissal. She should be nowhere near this. She should be nowhere near making such decisions. And let's not kid ourselves. Twitch is looking for these people to help them make decisions. They're not making the final decisions, but Twitch is certainly asking for their input here. Her viewpoints are way too extreme here. No one cares if she wants to identify as this or that. That's not the issue here. That could be further from the issue. No one even brought that up outside of some stupid people who don't know how to behave on these serious topics, and they will go and issue death threats and harassment. And no, I don't want any of my people, my audience, to do that. I don't want those kinds of people as part of my audience. That is absolutely idiotic, because not only is that wrong for obvious reasons, of course, that's kind of illegal to do, and you could probably put in jail or maybe even worse, but that gives her the exact ammunition to prove her point correct, which we don't need. And trust us, the majority of us know how to handle ourselves, know how to win these arguments, know how to get people to believe us in ways called telling the truth. We don't need the help of somebody who doesn't know how to behave, doesn't know how to calm down for 2 seconds in order to provide a rational thought about these things, and to go out and harass and threaten or to send vitriol toward a person who they don't like. But you know what also is true? The majority of people are not going to do that, because the majority of us can both be supportive of minority rights, of LGBTQ plus communities, of people who are marginalized, and even people who are furries, and I have nothing against them. I once had a friend who was one, so more power to them. But they can be for them and call certain individuals out when they do stuff like this, when they make asinine comments, when they make such blanket statements which are obviously traps. But the only way in order to tell people that a trap exists is to call out the trap. And just so you know, by trap I mean like bear trap and stuff like that. The Kafka trap is we're calling it here. Or maybe you can also call it gaslighting. That might be another term you can use to describe that. But this is extremely dangerous, because what is actually stopping her from using these viewpoints? What's stopping her from using that mindset as an excuse to silence critique, to silence criticism? We've seen it happen before, where this authoritarian mindset, whether or not it would be on the right wing or left wing, will use their own identity in order to silence critique about anything and everything that they do. And you have seen that on complete display over a Reset era. It gets worse by the daily there. I keep seeing asinine ban reasons that they just take out of thin air, and they just apply it whenever they see a opinion that they can't argue with, but they are against, about a serious topic that deserves nuanced discussion that we need to have serious discussions about. And when the heat was on her, she tried to turn it around and say, no, I never said that. No, I would not do anything like that. But then we see that she has a page on the ADL website, and they are very, very controversial in a variety of ways. How do we not know that she would use that power for that purpose? The bottom line here is she is being exposed here as one of the most toxic individuals we've ever seen on Twitch, that we've ever seen using the Twitch platform, and the comments that she made were not smart at best and disgusting at worst. This is the person who obviously needs to be fired from the council now. Her views are way too extreme for even hardened progressives to buy into, using her identity as a weapon to silence dissent about important issues that deserve a lot of important dissecting, using these scare tactics to intimidate others to be silent, and then make up possible excuses when she is called out for doing nothing to fix this situation, but to make a new situation that is just as bad and as horrible. Steph is a person that is obviously educated well beyond their intelligence, and I am not for harassing her at all, as I said, and don't do that. I would discourage anyone for doing that for the reason I've stated before, because it only gives her the way to dismiss the others who are more than capable of actually calling her out in a more productive way that gets people to listen. But those concerns should not be glossed over like Newsweek seemingly did, because of course the mainstream is not going to be concerned about this and only concerned about getting advertising money, instead of actually talking to those that might know the situation, medium, and subjects involved far more than any of them ever could. Or maybe Twitch should do what they say and not only bring in voices who are diverse in the realm of social status, but also in political status too. Why not bring in people like maybe Matt Jarbo or Liana Kirchner or Sophia for that matter? Somebody who would not exactly be for authoritarianism. Heck, why not just put me on it? Hey, I could probably do a good job of it. Probably just as good a job, if not way better than this Steph person ever could. But for Twitch to say that they are putting in diverse voices is an utter lie here, because no one's really going to disagree with one another here. As long as she's there, they're going to feel very, very uncomfortable. Just as uncomfortable as she's making our people to address this topic, because she's using this identity as a shield to silence any critique, as noted by what she has said about the majority of gamers on Twitch. She should not speak for the majority of transgender people. There are a lot of transgender people out there who are using Twitch who can do the job that she is being tasked to do a lot better than she ever could. And Twitch needs to actually listen to us. They need to listen to us now, because this is a very dangerous thing that is not going away. You're only making things worse instead of trying to trap people. Think, oh, well, you said this, so this means that we need it. No, we're telling you that you didn't need it in the first place. All you had to do was fix the things that were broken. This part is not the way to fix it. You're trying to put a band-aid on a gun wound here. This is a fix for a problem you created, and this does nothing to actually address the problem that's going on. It's obvious that Steph has a ton of baggage that she has to explain, that she must explain herself, and the explanations she gave were not enough. She made a lot of people wonder if they should support Twitch any longer. And yes, I have heard of people who are about done with Twitch if this continues on. Yes, it is that serious. People are willing to go to Facebook Gaming. There are alternatives now, very good alternatives. Have you noticed how good Facebook is becoming in this field? Not only as competitive for YouTube, but Facebook Gaming is kind of getting up there now. So Twitch might want to be careful here and tread lightly as to how they go about this, because right now there's competition and you're gonna drive people there. I guarantee this is going to be the final straw, the straw that broke the camel's back here. This is a dangerous person, an extremely extremely dangerous person to have on their board. And I can assure you there's a ton of transgender people on Twitch who can do the job way better than she ever could and is not proven to be ultra toxic, especially with how this show has corroborated the claims now of how she treats her fans out of the stream and how so many streamers and people have came out in opposition to this. What is Twitch not seeing? What is Twitch trying to do here? Are they trying to kill their brand here? They are legitimately worried about this one person. It's just one person, and it is one person that the only other explanation we can get out of why you're not doing anything about this, or you're not even addressing this, or you're not even addressing this one person, is maybe because she's on your payroll, or maybe nepotism. That's the only other reason that we can get right now, because you won't listen to us, so you won't address this issue sincerely and seriously. You won't take this seriously, because we sure as hell are right now. The things she has said are not funny in the slightest about what she believes about voice chat and about the majority of your own freaking audience, the audience that you should be wanting to keep on your platform. The threats are not just threats, they're promises to go elsewhere if this continues, if she's still there. It is that serious. She is that toxic. What are you not getting? What are you not seeing? What do we have to say in order to get you to understand that we are serious about this? No one wants to be around somebody who is perceived as toxic as this. Show us you're listening, Twitch. Show us that you're paying attention and you're taking this seriously. Don't just put a blog up there saying, oh, well, this proves that we need the council. No, this proves that you need to fire her now before you see Twitch as a ghost town and everybody going somewhere else. Because you may have gotten somebody on your board who thinks she's a deer, but you may have instead, by doing this, poked a lot of bears, and they are hungry like you wouldn't believe. And with that, that's going to do it for my ranting, also known as a special report. And thanks as always for watching, and if you like what you saw, please hit the button down below, please subscribe and hit the bell for more Geek Gaming Culture. I do things like this whenever I possibly can. Sorry for the long lacks of videos lately. A lot's happened, and I hope people are safe from the other thing that's going on. I'm just going to leave it at that. Please stay safe. Please make sure that you are doing what you can in order to make sure that you remain safe. Now, before I go, I'm going to do an OC remix track, and somebody who I would be dang sure would not stand for what's going on Twitch right now is the late and great John Bain, Total Biscuit, and we've been playing a lot of the stuff that he has used as tracks for his content. I think this is the last one we're going to be doing, because this is the last one that he used. We played the rest of them. This is called Drop and Roll by Tefnik, a arrangement of Fighting in the Street from Streets of Rage, which Streets of Rage 4 came out recently. Maybe I should be playing that instead of yammering on and on and on and on and on. Wow, this was a long special report. Thanks as always for watching. My name is JD Shadow, and that just happened.